Welcome back, folks. Thanks for stopping by the channel. You're watching 412 PSE Kustomz here on YouTube. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than normal. It's not going to be about emergency lighting. It's not going to be about our shop installs. Some of you might not know, but I am somewhat of a Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor enthusiast. I've owned a couple over the years, and I just love these cars. They're spacious. They're reliable. Crazy power. Built Ford tough. I know, everybody has their own opinions on vehicles and makes and models and whatever, but so if you are a CVPI enthusiast like myself, you may find this informative. So ran into an issue with our 2008 promotional vehicle. It's a 2008 CVPI Crown Vic Police Interceptor, where we had an airbag light on the dash letting us know that something was wrong, something was amiss. The horn stopped working, and all the controls on the steering wheel. So I have done some troubleshooting, some testing, and it seems that everything is fine. So I seem to think the clock spring has gone bad. Now, those of you who don't know what a clock spring is, a clock spring is basically the electrical contact that makes you have the ability to have controls on your steering wheel, even though your steering wheel turns round and round and round and round. Obviously, if they just use conventional wires, they would get all binded up, and they would, they would just rip out. So they use a ribbon style contact system called a clock spring, which keeps all your signals and your power and everything to all your controls, which allows you to have controls on your steering wheel, keep the horn working and all that, while still spinning your steering wheel round and round to steer your car. Okay, so this isn't real difficult, but it can be tedious at times. So I'm going to flip the camera around and just show you what I'm talking about. All right, folks, so I am doing this in kind of a torrential downpour / rainstorm, so bear with me here. All right, we're going to start the vehicle, and you're going to see my airbag light on the dash over here, up in the left. It's going to start flashing. That's actually giving you a code. It flashes once, and then it flashes like 9 times continuously. It'll continue to do that, just to let you know something's going on. Obviously, I have some other issues, some air pressure issues with the tire, which is probably just the sensors, which I have no intention of swapping out. It does say that I'm out of fuel, but don't worry about that. The sending unit is bad. We just haven't gotten around to dropping the tank and pulling the unit out to fix that. But also, I have no horn. No horn. None of our controls work. Yes, I know the car is in dire need of a detail, so bear with me on that as well. So we're going to show you how to remove this airbag safely. We're going to show you how to remove the steering wheel and swap that clock spring. Okay, folks, so before we get started, let's just talk about a couple things that you will need and one tool that you may need. Number one, you're going to need something similar to this Allen key that I'm going to use. That's going to be to pop the latches off of the airbag. You're also going to need a ratchet with a T50 Torx bit to get the steering wheel bolt off. And you may need something similar to this. This is a gear puller, but it does work for pulling these steering wheels off. You may be able to beat this thing and wiggle it off. This steering wheel has been off a couple times, within the last year or so. We may not need this. Or you can go and get a steering wheel puller which just be careful. They have universal ones, and then they have some that are only usable on certain size columns, stuff like that. So just be careful. This one works really well for these. I've pulled a couple of these steering wheels off this way. So all right, so let's get into it. Number one, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you need to take your battery cables off and touch the cables, not the battery terminals, the cables, your positive and your negative together for roughly about 15 seconds. What that does is that will drain all the juice out of the capacitors that are used to set off your airbag. Just to be safe, I know guys have done this without doing that, but you don't want this airbag blowing up in your face. That's the last thing you want to happen. So I definitely recommend doing that. All right, so once you disconnect that battery cable, you are going to see behind your steering column these little holes. These little holes back in here, you're going to use this Allen key to pop out the spring-loaded clips. There are 4 spring-loaded clips. They can be a little finicky. I don't know if you saw that pop out, but you're gonna have to do that on each corner of this airbag. It can be tricky, but you know, don't give up on it and just keep messing around until you find it. It will eventually pop off. Of course, there's my phone going off while I'm recording. Some reason I always have trouble with one of these. There it is. Okay. So, and I definitely recommend having your steering wheel placed the way I have this one right now. Okay, now you see these here, these spring-loaded clips. That's what you were popping out. Disconnect your horn ground, which is right here. These are your airbag connections. Got to take those off as well. Always face the airbag away from you when you're doing anything, just in case this thing triggers and blows off. And also, whenever you set it down, make sure you set it down like this, because if it blows up, it'll just blow out and come out. If you set it down upside down, you've now made this a trajectory if it does blow out. Definitely don't want that. Let's be safe, guys. All right. So, now what we have is our airbag connections. There's our the ground for the horn, which makes contact with these whenever you push it in. Here's your clock spring, this little black thing back in here. Now what we got to do is we got to get this bolt loose. We got to take this bolt off, and then we got to pull this steering wheel off. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, folks, so that T50 that I was telling you about, that's what is going to take off your main steering wheel bolt. Get that out of the way. Okay, so that's your T50. Now we are going to use a T15 is for this other little ground on here. I've already taken that out. That's this yellow wire here. So that's that. All right, so now that we have these 2 bolts out of here, what we're gonna do is you want to unplug your steering wheel controls from that clock spring. Okay, and then we're going to try and pull this thing out of here. Might be able to wiggle this thing loose because it has been off a couple times this year. Just in case you guys don't have a steering wheel that has been off recently, I'm going to show you how to hook this gear puller up, which, man, I really hope this works. It has worked previously for me. This one seems to be a little bit trickier. I don't know if this thing is going to work for me as well as I thought. So you're gonna stick it on the corners of your, or on the edges of your steering wheel. I apologize, this isn't working as well as it should be. See how you're going to kind of latch that on either side, and then you're going to put your shaft and you're going to push on that where that bolt goes in, and then you're going to crank it, try and get it out of there. This puller isn't the best example, I do apologize. So I do apologize. I did forget that you're gonna need a 5.5 millimeter to get these 3 bolts out underneath the column here to pull this trim away. I don't think we can get the clock spring out without taking these off. So 5.5 millimeter, and this should just pop apart here so that we can get to this bad boy. That's the clock spring. That's the one that we are changing. So when you get the replacement, and of course I do recommend going with the Ford OEM. I don't prefer buying the cheaper Chinese aftermarket stuff. So here's our replacement. You will notice that it has a lock tab. This lock tab keeps this from just unwinding. There's ribbon cables in here, and that's what keeps all your electrical connections good while you're steering your vehicle. These are marked top, and you know, have these marks here. But so that's what we're going to replace. Got a couple tabs that we have to pop off. One here, one here, one here, and we'll do that now. All right, folks, so very simple. I use the same Allen key just to get in there and pry these off. There's one up at the top here, there's one right here, and then there's one right beside this connection, and it slides right off. Then you have this harness here on the bottom that needs to be pulled out, which there is a little tab on it, and then it just pulls right out like that. There's the old one. Normally these make noise. I don't know if you can hear it, but okay. So now we are going to replace it with the new one. The plugs are all keyed, so you can't get them wrong. Now this one I don't think is going to snap right back into place until we pull this off. Just because I didn't have this thing positioned exactly correct. All right, folks, there it is. New one's on, snapped into place. Now you're basically just gonna put it back together in reverse fashion. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I got this column trim back together, and I am going to start putting these little 5.5mm bolts back in. There's 3 of them. Super simple reinstallation here. And with this, I'm hoping that our horn will work again. And also the cruise control. Cruise control I miss the most. Highway drives, I just really prefer to put her in cruise and set her and forget her, I guess, in a way. All right, now that we got all those tight, it is time to put our steering wheel back on. Super simple. This one is really easy. Obviously, feed your airbag wires back through the hole. The shaft has a slotted thing on it, and boom, that's it. Oh. Don't drop the nut. Okay. T50. Reinstall our bolt that holds our steering wheel on. I do apologize. I don't have the tech specs as far as what the torque setting is for torquing that down. You know what? Let me search that real fast and I'll get back with you guys. Okay, folks, so I did research the torque setting. So it is 30 foot-pound of torque for this steering wheel bolt. You can put thread locker on it if you want to when you replace it. This one has been in and out so many times, there's plenty of thread locker on here for sure, so I'm not so worried about that. So we're just gonna move on. All right, folks, so now that I have that nice and torqued on there, we are going to start hooking things back up. We are going to throw this ground back in with our T15. I always start things by hand, and then just for the last leg of things, tighten it down with your socket or your Torx bit or whatever it may be. You'll notice some guys use impact tools and stuff to do these kind of things, and you can do that, that's fine. Just be careful. I've seen a lot of people snap nuts off, you know, lots of different things. Okay, so now that we have the steering wheel attached, she's on, both bolts are replaced, we are going to go ahead and reattach our airbag. So first things first, we're going to make sure that our, oh wait, nope, sorry. Let's retract that statement. Okay, first things first is we are going to replug our steering wheel controls into the clock switch. Boom, plugged in, ready to go. Now we're going to replace said airbag. Okay, so let's do that now. First things first, I am going to put the horn connection on there, and the airbag connections are color coded. You have a gray and a black, and if you look here on the airbag, we have a coinciding gray and black female end, so make sure you get those right. They are keyed, so you really can't get them wrong, honestly. If it doesn't go in, it's obviously the other one. There's also a clip that holds on to your airbag wire and just kind of keeps it, you know, from rubbing and those kind of things. I do recommend throwing that in there. Just a simple little clip there. We are going to make a connection with our black plug here, maybe. It's actually somewhat of an upside down sort of plug-in. Okay, there we go. There's the gray one. All right, everything's back together. Line up your little spring-loaded clips and clamps. Push her into place. Boom, boom. She's done. That's it. Only thing next to do is hook up our battery cables, give her a shot, see what happens. Let's do that now. All right, folks, so here is the moment of truth. We changed out the clock spring on our 2008 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, one of our promotional vehicles and ex-demo car. We had no horn, we had an airbag light on the dashboard, and none of our steering wheel controls would work. So we have changed everything out. I showed you guys how to do that, how to do it safely. And now we got everything put back together, and we're going to start the car up and see what happens. All right, so here's our moment of truth. Let's check these dash lights now. There's that airbag light up there on the far left corner, and no blinking. It's out. Check that out. All right, second, let's see if our horn works. Woohoo! All right. Well, I can only assume that now our cruise control will work successful. Awesome. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it was informative. I hope it kind of shows you guys that you can easily do these simple repairs that would easily cost you, just for shits and giggles, I reached out to a Ford dealership and I got a price of around $1,200, parts and labor included, to do this fix. Now, I did also reach out to one of my lifelong family mechanics, and he also gave me a price of around $650 to $700 to do this parts and labor. Now, obviously, my family mechanic gave me a better deal as far as a quote, but still, this part cost me, I think, with shipping and everything, when it was all said and done, around $70. And it took probably less than an hour of my time. So you can see how you could easily save $600, maybe $1,100, depending on where you take the car. If you guys have any questions, concerns, anything, requests, you want to see other videos like this, let us know. Please smash that thumbs up button. It lets me know that we're doing something right. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We're always uploading videos, whether they are informative, whether they are emergency lighting, whether it's installs. So definitely hit that bell icon whenever you subscribe. Make sure you don't miss out on any uploads. And be kind to one another. That's something that my daughter had started with her kindness club in school last year. Hopefully they're going to be back to a hybrid kind of thing, back in school part of the way, at home part of the way, because they're really struggling with this online thing. But okay, be kind to one another. You know, these trying times, that's kind of important, man. I mean, I know it's important all the time, but today's also National First Responders Day, so thank you to all first responders. If you see a first responder and have the ability to thank them, please do. Until next time, guys, stay healthy and be safe out there.